We now return to Decision Makers.
And welcome back to Decision Makers. We're joined now by Tom Crouser, a Kanawha County worldwide consultant. and Tom, your world headquarters are where?
It's in Big Chimney, West Virginia. As far as I know, we're the only world headquarters in Big Chimney right now.
And Tom, you had a printing company years ago in Kanawha County.
I did, here in Charleston, and we sold that in '85. I began consulting with other businesses, primarily printing businesses, about that time, '85, and so have been doing so ever since.
And Tom, it's my understanding you were an interested citizen, nothing more than an interested citizen, went up to the hearings on the single-member districts, and they accused you of being a political right-wing. I don't know exactly what.
Well, actually, that's pretty well nails it. I was interested in the subject. I went up. I testified. I said we ought to have one man, one vote. We ought to have a single delegate district. It'd be good for West Virginia, and particularly for the 30th delegate district. And then afterwards, the next day, some of the powers that be were saying, well, we heard what they said, but you understand everybody was here for a concerted effort for political purposes. And I thought, well, I wasn't, but they also said that everybody came together and left together. And I said, dang, same thing happens at movies. You know,
let me ask you this. You have a website that's really sort of become the front page for a lot of people to go to sort of get educated on this subject. What's the name of the website?
The website is singledelegate.com, and you can put a hyphen between the two or not. Either one will get you there.
And basically West Virginia and people, this is a situation where the delegate districts for both the House and the Senate are set every 10 years. You can't change it in between. It's based on the last census data. And in West Virginia, now there's a crazy system up in New Hampshire where they have 400 delegates and there's overlap in some of that, but they're a smaller state. But we're the only state that has these 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people, and all it does is rob power from the people.
We're the only state that has more than 3 delegates other than New Hampshire, as you've mentioned. And interestingly to me, 2/3 of the delegate districts in West Virginia right now are single delegate districts. However, the House Select Committee that was put together to consider this consists of 2/3 people who are in multi-delegate districts who have the most to lose should we go to single delegate districts.
I mean, I have had the leaders of the House tell me this is not going to happen. This is all about preserving the jobs for the people that are in the House. And let's face it, I mean, the democracy of this country is based on one person, one vote. Every member of the House of Representatives in our Congress is based on that. We're the only state that's doing what we're doing, and it's strictly to keep the power out of the hands of people and to preserve jobs for the legislators.
Well, not only that, but I think I can narrow it down for you. It's not Democrats and Republicans. It really is not. You see, the power in West Virginia belongs to 135 people, 100 people in the House, 34 in the governor. And so the things that have happened, Senator Unger came down at our Senate hearing and said that the House does their redistricting. They're going to send the plan to the Senate. The Senate would pay a courtesy vote, and then it would go to the governor. And the governor has said, well, I'm all for single delegate districts, but I'm going to defer to the legislature. Now, what all that means is the 100 people in the House get to do whatever they want to do without input from the people, without a checks and balances. The Senate, I've never found a courtesy vote thing in our Constitution, by the way, but there's nobody going to check on them. Well, it's just the 100.
Well, let's talk through that. First of all, in the Senate, yes, there is a multi-member delegate district in Kanawha County.
Yes, there is.
A lot of people believe that will be changed, and the Senate will go to all single-member districts.
Well, actually, what we have in the Senate in Kanawha County, we have 2 districts in Kanawha County, the 8th and the 17th, and they simply overlay each other. Now, that was created back in the 60s when the whole concept of one person, one vote was required, because the Constitution in West Virginia said that each county was to have 2 senators, and the Supreme Court blew that away and said, well, you got to count people and not just counties or dogs or whatever. hasn't been changed
but
ever
that
since.
needs to be changed in the Senate. I mean, in fairness, but it's my understanding they will.
It's my understanding that that's pretty much a done deal. Because of the shift in the population, Kanawha County will not keep 4 senators themselves, which means that one district will have 2, and of course all districts have 2 senators, and one will be attached to another county, hopefully Putnam County.
And Tom, what I don't understand, Joe Manchin was adamant, and he said it on the show as recently as 4 weeks ago. This state, if you're going to be a member of the United States of America and do things the right way, needs to adopt the one person, one vote. He's strongly for it. He said he would get it done if he were the governor. Early Tomlin's taken a pass on it, saying he's not going to take a stand for it. And Bill Maloney, who's running against him this October, is saying, if I'm the governor, I'd vote. Why is Earl Ray doing that?
Well, I don't know. I guess you would have to ask him, but my view of it is more of a structural thing. How do we best represent the people in West Virginia? What's the function? What's the function of the House of Delegates? Again, it's to represent the people. So what does a delegate do? There's 3 parts to their job. Number 1, they go vote on stuff. We know about that. Number 2 is constituent services. Got a pothole, highway's not fixing it, they go help you do that. But number 3, most importantly, they're the eyes and ears of the people of the state of West Virginia. They are out there experiencing the state government services the way we do. And you can't do that if you're a long distance telephone call away.
All right, you hang on to that thought. I want to come back after this quick break with Tom Crouser.
Hey, newbie. When I was your age, we didn't have a fancy biz hub to scan stuff. We had to scan it ourselves with a scanner.
You were lucky. If we wanted snazzy color like this, we sent out for it.
Well, we couldn't just send things from a biz hub. We faxed them on slimy fax paper.
It's the elder.
He who speaks of floppy disks.
You're all soft.
Call Comax in Charleston and Huntington today for your business solutions.
When you've been injured in a car accident, you don't need excuses, you need help. Insurance companies have powerful lawyers working to protect unsafe drivers and minimize the money you get. It's time you hired a powerful attorney to protect you. For over 30 years, the law firm of Hill, Peterson, Carper, B. & Ditzler has helped keep residents across West Virginia safe and get their lives back. Call 1-800-822-5667. The call is free and so is the consultation. 1-800-822-5667.
We now return to Decision Makers.
And welcome back to Decision Makers. Tom Crouser, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
I want to go back to where we left off. There's also this fundamental thing, and I think this was originally designed to give voting power to the metropolitan areas in West Virginia, keep it out of the rural districts. And if you look, if you're in eastern Kanawha County, you can't even get through the primary because all the votes are concentrated in the city. And so what we've got to do is put people in touch with their delegate, because most of the people in Charleston, if they pass their delegate, they won't know because they're not their neighbors, they don't know who they are. But if you get them down to where it's, in a little community, say Ripley or something, you know who Mitch Carmichael is.
Certainly, the issue is having the opportunity to experience state government as I do, and you can't do that living somewhere away. Of course, in the 30th Delegate District, there are 7 delegates, and it comprises about 650 square miles, more or less. And there's 50 square miles of it that's incorporated into Charleston and South Charleston city limits. Well, all 7 delegates happen to live within those incorporated limits, which means that they can intellectually understand the concept that volunteer fire departments are running out of money and can't pay their workers' compensation and have to close like the one in Marshall County did this week. They can understand that. But you know, if you live out there and your life and your property is at the is protected by volunteer fire departments, it helps to color your legislative priorities.
Right, and the other thing it does, it empowers special interests, unions being certainly a part of that, because nobody's accountable to anybody, and so you've got a third of the districts and a third of the delegates in West Virginia are compromised going into the system because they're not accountable. And
I would suggest to this, it lowers the participation level. You see, in a single delegate district of 18,500, if I wanted to mail everybody a letter and reach out and touch everybody, it would cost me $2,500 in postage alone, not even counting printing and whatever. Right. But if I just go to a 2-delegate district, now I'm up to $5,000. And you know, actually, what that just, you go into the 30th delegate district where we've got 119,000 people, and if you don't have $50,000 or $60,000, you cannot even start. And that means you got to kowtow to the special interests who are going to bring you a block of votes, who are going to bring you in money, and it needs to be brought down to where individual normal people can participate.
This is a big deal. It's why we have the poverty we have in the state. It's why we have a runaway state government that's the biggest per capita in all of America, and it's why we have billions and billions of dollars of unfunded debt.
I suggested the other day if we would switch to 100 delegate districts, that this would be the most fundamental shift in West Virginia governance for the last 100 years, and I truly believe that. I truly believe that we've got to connect the dots. The biggest problem that we have isn't the 100 folks up there, the Dems and the Republicans looking out after themselves. The biggest problem we have out there is us out here. It's inertia. Why should I care? Isn't it just a bunch of politicians screwing around with themselves? No, it's not. If you're okay with your police protection, your fire protection, your ambulance protection, your roads, your snow removal and stuff, if you're okay with that, then it may not matter. But if you're not, and then the question comes up, who's your delegate? What delegate district are you in? If you don't know that kind of stuff, that's the reason why we need single delegate districts.
Truth of the matter is, this is the most single important political question that will be in front of the West Virginia for a 20-year period. If you go all the way back to the year 2000 to 2020, and if we don't change this, I don't believe that West Virginia can fundamentally move forward and join the economic recovery and other things that are happening in America. And there's one man, Earl Ray Tomlin. If he wants to stand up, he can make this happen. And while he says he believes in it, he's got to put some political skin in the game, or West Virginia is going to continue to limp along, always falling short of all its wonderful potential.
I believe that as well, and I would believe one other thing. It is not just the House of Delegates that's responsible for their plan. Our state senators also vote for that plan, and they are just as responsible for the House plan as the House members.
Tom, you're exactly right, because the Senate represents the people of this state. And if the Senate and governor tell the people in the House, and by the way, the majority of people in the House, I believe, favor it. The unions are controlling this, special interest, and the leadership of the House. We can force those guys to give freedom and set us free to live a life like the rest of this country and get out of all this poverty.
I don't disagree.
I can't get excited about this. Tom, thank you for what you're doing for West Virginia. It is so refreshing to see somebody doing something like this for no motive other than to make this state better and to bring our children home.
Well, thank you very much, and go to singledelegate.com. There you can sign a petition, which automatically, immediately goes to your state delegate.
Mike Stewart from the Republican Party is coming in next. I suspect he may have a thought on this. We'll find out after this break.